Jayson Tatum needs to get to an NBA championship to be put in that next bucket.
Get to or win?
I think get to an NBA championship to get put in that next bucket for me, frankly. Because what I saw him do in elimination games, game 6, when you talk about on the road, he drops 46 on the road. Huge game. Then to come back at home and defend home territory, dropping 23 in the way he did. Now, granted, Grant Williams made 27 points, ended up knocking down 7 threes. But the way he takes over a game, the way he shot the ball in this game, and the way Ime Udoka, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, has now figured out the blueprint in his first year coaching, going from Kevin Durant to stopping Giannis. The winner of the Eastern Conference is going to win the whole thing, in my opinion. I don't know if that's going to be Boston or Miami. We'll talk about that.
But either one's going to beat the West?
I think the winner of that series is going to beat the West.
Even if it's Golden State, you believe that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well,
I do, because who these teams are defensively.
I understand. I can't argue with you. You've done it on the hardwood. What do you mean when you say bucket? Like, what's the bucket? In football, when I say bucket, there's like 4 of the top 5 or so quarterbacks in that certain bucket. What is Tatum in terms of the bucket at the superstar status level for you?
He's a top 10 player in the league.
So your bucket's 10.
Top 10, I hover around that 10, 11, 12 range.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, yeah, all right, okay. Because I misunderstood what your bucket was, because I was going to say he needs to win a championship to get in the top bucket. When I think top bucket, I think the top echelon of the 5 or 6 NBA superstar players. But if you're extending it to 10 or 11, he certainly belongs in there. He may be in the 7, 8, and 9 category for sure, 100%. But in terms of those top 5 or 6 players, he's right on the cusp of that. And championship certainly would push him in there. There's no question about it. He's been amazing for them, obviously, on both ends of the floor. His length, his ability to see the floor, all of the different things that you taught me and talked about over the last several months, or better yet, since January, since they pretty much been cooking.
Yeah, I think when you say top bucket, to me at least, I'll tell you how I think about it. Is he the kind of player where not even having an especially great year for him, just having his kind of standard issue year, if he's on the right team, that can win a championship. And that's good enough to be the best player on a championship team. And there are however many, I like the way Key does it. There's not a set number. It's not 10 or 7 or 12. Some years it might be 7 guys, all who could do that. Some years it might be 11 guys. Some years maybe just 4 guys. To me, it feels like Tatum is already there. Like if he just stays at this level in the right situation, he could be the best player on a championship team. It might be right now.
Look, I think they probably are the favorite right now. I don't know what the odds on favorite are to win the whole thing, but you would think, they feel like the most complete team in the playoffs from top to bottom with the way they defend. And they didn't do it with Robert Williams, by the way.
I know.
So here's the thing.
Williams showed up.
When you think about
and dropped
how they literally schemed to stop Giannis, and they showed him a multitude of bodies, and Drew Holiday couldn't get down the stretch, and then not having Chris Middleton. Obviously, they were favored to win this series, but the way they score, the way they defend, Marcus Smart leading at the helm, who they are defensively, they're the best team left in the whole thing.
Straight talk, wireless, no contract, no compromise. Listen, if you go to a game 7 and the team has to get hot from 3 to beat you, I have to believe if you had your second best player, the Bucks had Middleton, I have to believe they win the series, but we'll never know.
What we're about to find out in this next series for me in the Eastern Conference is going to be a bloodbath, man. This series between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, the Jimmy Butlers, the Marcus Smarts, the Tyler Heroes, the snarl that he has, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who both teams are. You know what? Bam out of Bayou, PJ Tucker. It's going to be like man in the arena, like that whole Chicago, that is.
Chicago.
Yeah. There it is.
I'm into Chicago.
Yeah, it happened again. There it just
happened. I'm into Chicago.
Who?
Shebang means like the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Right, like a shebang, but not exactly a shebang, a whole bag of shebang. Yeah, Shebang. Giannis, by the way, is knocked out, right? And I got to feel like, I think Michael Jordan ruined this for everyone, and then followed by Kobe, and then LeBron, who did versions of it, where you have to win it every single year or it's the next guy's turn. Well, Magic and Bird traded off. They didn't win it every single year. MJ won it basically every single year. And then Kobe with Shaq And then when they gave him Pau, was in it every year at least, and a lot of times won it. And LeBron is in it every year. Those guys ruin the standard for the rest of the basketball players after them because now Giannis won't be in the finals. Are we holding it against him? This is what Giannis said after the series in which he set records for what he did on the offensive end of the floor and also was excellent defensively. Listen to Giannis about how he felt throughout this series.
Shots that I usually make wasn't going in, but that's basketball, That's sports. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. There's a winner, there's a loser. So, but you got to live with it.
You see, there was a difference for me when I watched the Milwaukee Bucks play as opposed to watching the Brooklyn Nets play. Yeah, I think Giannis missed a lot of chippies in Game 7, a game that you expect him to be his best at. But damn, it was one hell of a series for him, man. I mean, there were times where you felt like Milwaukee shouldn't be on the floor with the Boston Celtics, in which he single-handedly kept them in the game, waiting for a Drew Holiday or a Grayson Allen to come up and do something, right, to get them over the hump. But at the end of the day, you're still looking at the Bucks and you're saying, man, through blood on his face, through 40-point games, Giannis single-handedly kept his team in the series, and you wonder what it would have been like with Chris Middleton as opposed to with the Brooklyn Nets. You're looking at they're saying, well, damn, like KD and Kyrie couldn't even get it close, whereas at least this series came down to a Game 7.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.